Welcome, everybody. My name is Anthony Boland. I'm the owner and broker of The Collective. Very happy to have you guys all here today. As you know, this is the Los Angeles Multifamily Meetup Group. LAMultifamilymeetup.com is our website where you can join as an official member to make sure you're always invited to all of the different education that we do. Our goal is to provide education monthly on different topics that are helping anyone who's interested in learning about multifamily become a better investor, to help make sure that you're protecting your wealth and you're able to grow your wealth at the best level possible. So LA Multifamily Meetup, it's welcome to anyone, for agents, for investors, for lenders. We're a networking group and an education group. Marshall, can you help me maybe let people in? So we're a mixture of all different types of people. So we want to be able to make sure that we provide education, but we also want to make sure that we're providing networking opportunities as well for everyone who's looking to be a part of this industry. So today we have super timely topics. I feel like it keeps getting more and more exciting to learn about ADUs because it's been becoming easier and more affordable and more options, and finally the legislators are behind us and have been making laws that are actually in favor of building ADUs and making it easier and having that whole ability to do junior ADUs and to do ADUs with multifamily and all of this really great stuff that keeps changing. So thank you guys for coming in, learning. We have a couple of amazing speakers that you're going to learn a lot from today. So why don't we start briefly with just quick introductions, and we'll go around the room. We'll start with people who are here in our office. We're in West Hollywood. We'll start in the back. If you want to introduce yourself and speak loud if you can, just a quick sentence of who you are.
Yeah, I just started learning investment, and I'm reading to ADU, and I'm really more happy.
Welcome.
And what's your name?
Yeah.
Kim, nice to meet you, Kim. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Johnny, and I'm a realtor here at The Collective.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, hi, I'm Cindy. I'm a real estate agent / investor. I work at Collective too.
I'm Tim, but also with The Collective.
Brian, same. Hey.
I'm Dwight, I'm an investor.
Welcome.
John with Collective.
I'm Vincent with Keller Williams.
Welcome.
Do you want to just...
And let's go with Mr. Keaton, fabulous contractor.
Hi, folks. I'm David Keaton. I'm a general contractor, and over the years, I've owned several multifamily properties. I sold them all now, but I know quite a bit about them. So, thank you.
Welcome, Samantha, and then Naya.
Hi, I'm Samantha Hill. I am an architect and small-scale developer. I'm actually working with the city of West Hollywood on an affordable housing ADU program, which I'll be presenting on this evening, along with my colleagues Andrew and Gina.
We cannot wait. Naya and Linda.
Hi, my name is Naya Waters. I am both a real estate agent and an architectural designer, and I do, working with a structural engineer, I do feasibility, design, and permitting for ADUs specifically.
Great. Linda and then Alex.
Hello, I'm Linda. I'm a realtor with The Collective. Nice to meet you all.
Welcome. Good, Alex and then Kelly.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Alex Murray. I'm a realtor with The Collective, and I also work property management with Tao Properties.
And Kelly and then Nina. Kelly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Nina. Kelly Kerrigan. I'm an agent, investor, and currently based in Mexico.
All right.
Hi, guys.
There's some border wars going on. I don't know.
We're safe down here.
Good. Mira and then Lena. She's muted.
And Milt.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Mira. I have one rental property, so I'm like a kind of newbie investor myself, but also I'm with a brokerage specialized in funding these distressed properties for investors to rehab.
Wonderful. Lena, are you there? Otherwise, we'll go to Valerie and then Lola.
You're muted, Valerie.
Hello, Valerie Basili with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, 35 years Realtor, 3 rent properties, and one's got a large lot. So I'm very interested in maybe an ADU.
Very smart.
Everyone.
Lola and then Jessica. Jessica and then Nick.
Hi, I'm Jessica, single family owner and new investor. And I currently have an ADU on my primary residence and looking to add an ADU on the investment property.
All right. And Nick and then Jai. Nick, I see you unmuted, but
mature those relationships or engage or investor database. So just remember that you don't have to do it all by yourself. You know, that's what the beautiful part of.
great. Nick, are you there? I think we lost Nick. Okay, Nick, chime in, raise your hand if you're able to speak in a moment. Richard and then Stormy.
Hey, everybody. My name is Richard Corral. I am a consultant, and today I am representing a project that I'm working on called the Back Home Initiative, which is to utilize ADUs as a solution to address homelessness. And specifically, the Back Home Initiative provides 100% grant funding, so no financing, nothing to pay back, to construct a studio, 1-bedroom and or 2-bedroom ADU for the purposes of housing an individual or family experiencing homelessness. I'm happy to share more information later today.
Wonderful. Feel free to put any contact info in the chat for anyone that goes.
Will do. Thank you.
Great. Michael. And then Monica. Michael, are you there? All right. Monica, and then Jeffrey Sachs, who just joined us.
Hi.
In LA.
Hi, I'm Monica. I'm a new agent. I'm just here to learn. Thank you.
Welcome. All right, Jeffrey, then we'll go to one of my good friends, David Aronson.
Did you not want me to say anything? I just wanted to say thank you for letting me in to listen.
Just an introduction. Yeah, we're just introducing ourselves.
Okay, Jeffrey Sachs with Cole Banker in Beverly Hills, friend of Anthony's. And I wanted to hear what was happening today.
Great. Great. Thanks, Jeffrey. Good to have you.
Thank you.
David Aronson and then Cece Chen. All right. How about Cece Chen and then Sandy? Hi, welcome. Cece, I saw you unmuted, but we don't hear you.
Oh, hi, I'm Sandy Kosis. I'm a real estate agent and investor in Orange County, California.
All right, Sandy, welcome.
Thank you.
Cece, are you there? No, Cece, okay. And Ken and then RJ. JR, excuse me.
Ken Dennis, Realtor with the Collective.
Welcome. JR and then Ann. All right, go ahead, Ann.
Hi, I'm Ann. I'm a resident in the city of West Hollywood.
Welcome. We have a great program to talk to you about. Jay and then Stanley.
Hi, my name is Jay. I work at
Go ahead, Jay.
Orange County space.
You cut out, Jay.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Yeah. Hi guys. I'm a realtor and an investor. I work in the Orange County area, primarily in the Seal Beach, Rossmore, and Cypress area.
Okay, welcome. And Jai, did you? He went away. You went already? Okay, got it. I just thought I unmuted.
Hi, this is Joy Pokhriyal, and I am in Los Angeles. I just joined this call to see what's happening. I am an investor, so I'm just wanted to see what's happening here.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
And we have 2 more people who joined us in the office. If you would want to introduce yourself, feel free.
Hi guys, I'm Nina Lasorif and I'm with CEDAS. We work with multifamily owners how to use their properties, but also we're a consultant, me and my partner Andrew. And I don't know if Sam Smith Hill already introduced herself, but she did. Okay, so we're consultants for the city of West Hollywood for the Affordable ADU program, which we'll be talking about today.
Awesome.
I'm Alex. I'm a marketing professional and I work for the Collective and TL Properties.
All right, welcome, welcome. All right, well, please feel free to share your contact info in the chat so we all have it. It's always great to network. We never know who needs help from who. And I want to just keep this meeting going and let's just get right into our first speaker. Well, actually, let me introduce Will, the director of our commercial division, the multifamily division, Will Tiao. What is going on in the market?
Yes.
We always have some great insight that we can all definitely learn from. So, Will, take it over.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'll introduce myself. My name is Will Tiao. I am the director of the commercial real estate division here at the Collective Realty. I'm specialized in multifamily and mixed-use properties. I also own a property management company called TL Properties. We manage over 200 units throughout the city of Los Angeles. And we're also investors and developers ourselves. I actually just went non-contingent today. I think I'm maybe one of the first sales that was, so I did this fourplex deal 2 years ago. This was in the city of Van Nuys, Lake Balboa, and then the investor that built 2 ADUs. So it was one of the first deals that went basically from 4 units to 6 units, which, as many of you know who are in the lending world, that shifts the property from a residential to a commercial property. So, so we just went non-contingent on that today. So we may be the first ones in the market to actually get a property like that done. So these deals are happening. People are looking at them and they're very, very interested, particularly in the multifamily plus ADU space. I just had an investor call me yesterday about looking for a house with 2 ADUs in the back. So people are looking at these almost as like triplex, fourplex, and then now turning into 6-plex deals, which could potentially then be turned into, using residential financing to get a potential commercial property.
So smart.
So everybody's asking me that question, which is, where's the market? What's going on the multifamily side? And what I can tell you is this: everybody assumes, you read the big headlines, right? The big headline is housing market slowing down. Sellers are not, buyers are not buying because of interest rates, blah, 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 okay? This is what I can tell you on the multifamily side. It's a whole different ballgame. We're in a different market from the single family side. We, those of us who focus on multifamily, it's not that we're not interest rate dependent, we are, but the interest rates are different, right? Because those of us on the multifamily side, especially 5 units or more, we don't do 30-year fixed, right? We do 5-year, 3, 5, 7, 10-year ARMs. So those rates fluctuate anyways, and they've been in the 5s roughly for a while. So anybody who's investing knows that, how to underwrite something. I am not seeing cap rates go up. I am not seeing GRMs go down. I am seeing stuff move. Like I said, this is a good example, the one I just said today. That had been on the market for a second, and we still got it. We're going to close at 4.5 cap. So cap rates are not changing. And I think the reason for that is because rents are still super strong, right? Rents, in fact, are not only just strong, they're going up, right? So for those of you who are, run the numbers and everything, if you're not able to buy, you have to rent, right? There's no choice in the matter. So, so we're actually seeing like people who have cashed out of their stocks, cashed out of their crypto, they're putting into multifamily as their safe haven investment. That's what we're seeing anyways. And we're seeing the market move. Now, I don't want to spend too much more time. If any of you have any specific questions about the market, I always do like to give a minute for people to give up, to talk about their wants and needs. I always pitch my off markets in this room before I put them on the market, and deals have been done in this room. Okay, we've had deals done. So I have a 9-unit coming up in South LA, about a mile and a half from USC. It is completely renovated. It is not under LA rent control. Okay, so it's under AB 1482. All will be at market rents. This will be, so we are pricing it at 3.45 million, which puts it at a 5.1 cap. Okay, so that gives you a sense of where the market is going to aim for, right? We'll see where it ends up. But that is, that's, if anybody's interested in that, let me know. I've got a couple potential other listings coming up too. You know, so if you're looking specifically for some off-market stuff, let me know. Is there anyone in the room, either Zoom or live, who has a deal or a want or a need?
I have a listing.
Yes.
So I have, yeah, just raise your hand on Zoom and we'll make sure we get to you right away. I have a triplex in Silver Lake. If you go to 837mitchellterrena.com, 837mitchellterrena.com, it's a triplex. The rent is getting about $10,000 a month. There's amazing views. You can see to the ocean. There's a front house, 2-bedroom, 2-bath front house, plus a back house that has 3 stories. The top story is a 1-bedroom, the middle story is a 1-bedroom, and the bottom story is an unpermitted studio unit. You're allowed to build 2 more ADUs, plus convert a non-habitable space, which would be that studio unit, into a rentable unit. So that would be an additional 3 more units. It's listed at 2.2, and 837 Mitchell Terrena has all the videos, stats, floor plans, everything you could want. If you have questions on that, I'll put that in the chat.
Oh, sorry. I have a buyer, 2 to 3.5 million cash, looking for Highland Park as a center of gravity, and then a 5-mile radius around it. Okay, looking for preferably turnkey, something close to turnkey, but has room for an ADU or 2, so that they can do some value add at some point. Okay, getting a lot of requests on the buy side for things like that, where they can have the room or the potential to build more units. Anyone else?
Nina.
Nina.
Hi, I'm actually just looking at the set. We have a portfolio that we're just about ready to go on market with that has one's in Koreatown, one's in Valley Village, 2 are in Van Nuys, total units here. 19 units, 6 units, 5 units, 19 units, and 18 units. And all of them except one of the larger buildings has obvious ADU possibilities, including the last one, which easily has multiple, there's the 2 external ones and then some possible attached additional ones. So all of them are multifamily and all of them have really clear ADU possibilities for a buyer, and the seller's not going to do the ADUs beforehand. But we have set up all the offering memorandum, and they're currently off market and they're only being marketed sort of by email to folks. So if you have any interest in that, or if the collective has any interest in being included in that email, please tell us.
Yeah, please put your contact in the chat. That would be great.
It's in the chat. Thanks.
Awesome.
Is there anyone else that has a want or need or deal? Going once, going twice. So I will let you introduce the speakers.
All right. So I'm super excited. We're here in West Hollywood right now. I'm a resident of West Hollywood, and the city has come up with an opportunity to make building ADUs a little bit easier for its owners here. I've never seen them do anything like this. And this is something that's only available for a very short amount of time. So it's very timely. So I'm glad that we're able to get the speakers on our calendar here today with us. I don't know who's speaking. Is it Samantha or you?
We're all gonna speak, but
Okay.
Sam has the time pressure. She's gonna go first.
Okay.
And Andrew and I will go.
All right, and I have your PowerPoint ready. Should I get that up for you right now? Okay, Samantha, go ahead and take it away. Just tell me when you need me to switch the slides and I will do so.
Okay, great. I'm not seeing the slides yet. Let's see.
Sorry. 1 second. All right, go ahead, Samantha.
Great, thank you. So as I mentioned, I'm Samantha Hill. I'm working with the City of West Hollywood on an affordable ADU pilot program. Here you can see at the bottom left-hand corner, that's the contact information. So we'll share these slides with everyone and
everyone who's registered will get your deck if that's okay with you.
okay, that's perfect. Okay, next slide, please. So the ADU pilot program, we do have a team. We're working with the City of West Hollywood. Brian League, is the property development manager. He's working under the property development division, and Allison Bartle, she's the project development administrator. So all questions about the program will be directed to her. Myself and Gina and Andrew, we are the consultants working with the city. Next slide, please. And so we'll just go over a quick overview of our agenda. So first off, we're going to talk about the ADU pilot program. We're going to talk about what's an ADU. We'll kind of go over that very quickly. It sounds like everybody on this call is familiar with what an ADU is, but maybe we'll just add a couple details in that individuals may not know about. We're going to talk about the loan program information, eligibility requirements, the application process, how we score it and the preferences, and as well as the program workflow. Last, we'll end with questions. Next slide, please. Sorry, next slide, please.
There we go. Oh,
great.
Delayed.
Oh, it looks like, are we running in PowerPoint? It doesn't look, it looks a little.
This happened before, Sam, when on preview, it looks fine on PowerPoint, but it's okay, we'll send it.
It's fine. It's fine. Not a big deal. So this pilot program, it's a new affordable housing initiative, and it incentivizes property owners to create an affordable rental unit on their property. And that includes both single family and multifamily properties. And so the program is offering what we're referring to as comprehensive assistance. So for financing, designing, permitting, and constructing the ADU. The property does need to be located within the City of West Hollywood, though. And so we see this as a way to expand the housing stock by providing low interest loans to assist property owners to allow them to add these dwelling units, these ADUs, to their property. Next slide, please.
Sam, I just want to mention something real quick too. One of the biggest things about that is they also offer the consulting services. So this is paid for by the City of West Hollywood. It's part of the program, and it's basically holds the homeowners' hand throughout this process, and that's what makes it successful.
I think that was something that people don't understand. It's not just a loan, right? There's more to it that you're able to do to help them with the process.
Absolutely, we're there, the three of us as consultants every step of the way. So sorry,
cool.
Jimmy.
No, great, thank you. So what's an ADU? An ADU is an accessory dwelling unit. It's self-contained residential unit, and it shares the same lot as the primary dwelling unit. An ADU must include a living, sleeping area and a bathroom, and a kitchen. Now, there are something referred to as junior ADUs, and those are connected to a main house, and those are not required to have a bathroom. So they can share with the main house, just to keep that in mind. Now, there's no
They are part of
Yeah, they can apply for the program as well.
junior ADUs. are
Yes,
part-
junior ADUs are part of the program also. Mhm. And then newly constructed ADUs, so that's if a new structure or addition is added to the lot, and then there's converted where you take, it could be a garage, a pool house, a studio, any permitted structure, and that is currently permitted, and we can convert that into an ADU itself. And as I mentioned earlier, it can be single family, multifamily, and multifamilies for this purpose are considered duplex properties. So anything with 2 or more units under California ADU state law are considered multifamily.
And that's important for West Hollywood because they consider only 3 or more, as you know, as multifamily here in West Hollywood, but for the purposes of this program, because of the state law, it's multifamily is a duplex or more.
Whoever just spoke, we can hear you. You're speaking so quickly that online is getting muddy.
Okay, I'll see.
We're gonna get a
That's
little,
okay.
little closer to the mic.
Okay, and I'll hand it over to my colleague, Andrew.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us there. I'm glad Gina's there in person for all the questions you have. The information on the loan program itself. So the loan is a maximum of $150,000. The loan term is a 3-year loan term with 1% simple interest, much lower than any other loan that's being offered right now. It offers 3 years of deferred payments, which includes principal and interest with 1 year of extensions. There is an issue if you don't finance it, then you'll have to pay a conversion fee. But it's a 30-year conventional loan with compounding interest of 1%. The stipulation is that you must rent it to a Section 8 tenant for 7 years. So like I believe Gina said, there's a bigger purpose than this, right? So yes, these funds are very cheap, but also there's a purpose driven behind this in order to create affordable housing via the route of ADUs. Typically affordable housing is 55 years. No, it doesn't have to be the same tenant. It can be any tenant, but you must rent it to a Section 8 tenant for the 7 years. There will be a notice recorded on the property. And if you do not rent for a tenant, then there is a penalty of $25,000. So it's really a way to create affordable housing throughout West Hollywood and to keep it that way, at least for the 7 years, but we intend to make sure that it goes longer. And West Hollywood has a track record of making sure anyone who was a low income tenant to get housing even after this expires. Next slide.
And then regarding with Section 8, that's when they're rented, they're market rents when they come on at first, right? Or is there any stipulation with?
It has to be a Section 8 tenant, although
Yeah.
Section 8 tenant, right now, the vouchers are pretty high. They're not much lower than market, but no, for that duration of the 7 years, Section 8 tenant must stay there. There should be only no more than a 90-day gap between tenants.
I think he's asking though, what is the rate of a Section 8 tenant? Like how much would they pay actually?
Oh, he can.
No, what I'm saying is that for an owner, when you're advertising into Section 8 tenants, when you set that rent, how do they set that rent? Is it just what market rate is for that? And then they're able to bring in Section 8 tenants, or it needs to be?
Section 8, it's a list rate, so they have to only charge that amount and it'll be to Section 8 voucher holder, and so it would be whatever that Section 8 is for that year, whatever that rent is.
Okay.
It's different per bedroom count.
And per area.
Yeah, and per area.
And per area.
Is this, sorry, it's based on bedroom and square footage, or just bedroom?
Bedrooms, and then, and you're like a local AMI as well.
Okay.
I actually think Gina, it's actually not based on bedrooms. I believe it's based on the amount of persons in the household.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. And for those that didn't hear what Gina was saying, it's based on how many people will be living there and then the area. So there's a calculation based on what the area is, on what the rent is. So the same rent in West Hollywood would not be the same rent you get in Joshua Tree or in Riverside or Northern California. It's really based on the area, but West Hollywood's rate is very close to market rent. Because it's such a high income area that these two get very close to each other. So on the next slide, the eligibility requirements. If it is a single family property that's applying, they must have been owner occupied for 1 year. If it's multifamily, obviously most multifamily buildings are not owner occupied, so that is out the window. And that you must rent it to a Section 8 voucher holder for a minimum of 7 years. Continuous years, but it doesn't have to be the same tenant. If someone moves out or you have a new person, you just have to bring someone else in. The application process, We have a website set up for it, weho.org, ADU pilot. The window opens August 1st, 2020. And then we have about, 2 months, 30 days. During that time, we'll take in all the applications. It's not very strenuous. It just helps provide some information for our scoring. Then we rank up all the applications that come in based on the scoring material that's in our handbook, which is also on the website. And then after 20 days, the selected applicants will start bringing in the information to create the loan documents and to start dispersing this money. They will have us, Samantha, myself, and Gina as consultants. I mean, Gina and I have done hundreds of ADUs. Samantha has done everything. So having us as a team is typically something you wouldn't be able to afford or have access to. So these homeowners get us in their pocket to sometimes day and night text us, ask us what we're doing. And they get to be micro developers with some industry leaders at no cost to them. The city is paying for us.
How many loans, I guess, are you giving out? How many
Two,
projects?
for this one will just be two.
Okay.
One to two homeowners. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a pilot program, so we're going to prove how great this is and
Yes.
do 2 this year and 200 next year.
Yes.
Maybe 2,000. Who knows? Maybe everybody gets an ADU. But the whole point is to show that this works and show that it creates affordable housing and then expand from there.
And hopefully it'll become a pilot program for LA.
Yeah,
Right?
well, so we're
Keep it
doing
going.
Pasadena, as they already mentioned too. I think the county's been speaking with us, as well. So yeah, hopefully there's gonna be a lot of other cities adopting these types of programs.
And it's definitely something that's clear when we talk to city council members and state legislators that, yeah, it's great that we have all these laws for ADUs making it easier, but it's still so unaffordable for people to do and to build, but they're not doing it. That there has to be other mechanisms to help people to be able to do something like this. So this is a perfect example of a program that could be expanded to be something that's really powerful. So yeah, this is very exciting that this is happening right now.
I'd like to add to that. Typically, affordable housing and major projects are all centered in one. With this program, it's mixed income in different areas. So people that are low income get spread with people that have different mixes of income. And me personally, I don't think we should have concentrations of certain people in one area. I think it should be spread out everywhere and we all rise together as a collective. And that's really what this program is. It's not a center of certain people in certain places, but spread out throughout the city, spread throughout. And that's really what this program does. It's not putting everyone in one area based on what your income is or what your life circumstances, but to spread it throughout the city.
Yeah, and also, Andrew, I know off the top of your head, you know, kind of like the range for what affordable housing for units coming out to be right now and new construction. It's something ridiculous. It's like well over 400 something thousand, but almost 500,000.
Oh, yeah. So the range,
to build an affordable unit.
the range goes from 400,000 to 750,000 to create an affordable housing unit.
The average is about 600 and I think it's 620,000. It's very, very high for an affordable. And it's a lot longer time frame because usually you're doing multiple units. So we're talking about, at least a 4-year process to do affordable multifamily.
Are there approved contractors and builders? Does the city have a list of people that they would prefer, or is it up to each?
That's a great question. We're actually going to put the city's going to put an RFQ out to encourage local GCs to apply and kind of get on board so that when we are ranking and doing the analysis of the applications, they can kind of provide an estimated bid of what we could build for 150,000. So I don't think we're not putting that out for architects or designers, but we encourage anybody, if you know any great architects, designers, please send them our way. We'd love for them to be part of this program.
Cool.
Andrew, did you finish the last one? Should I go on to scoring?
Yeah.
Last
so the scoring is based on a couple different priorities that we have in here. So the first priority is the ADU equipped for senior or disabled access, which is important so that it's able for anyone to live in there. The size, a maximum of 500 square feet. The reason why we have that is because of the constraints of the loan. So that way we fit it in there, but 500 square feet still is a great unit. Then next is utility access and the income of the borrower. But the scoring are just ideas, and you get extra points. You don't have to hit all these, otherwise you're disqualified. So these different priorities are how we're going to base the scoring. At the very end, if there's 2 or 3 people that are at the same, we'll do a lottery for the tiebreaker, and that's how we'll be choosing who gets these loans.
Yeah, and just so the utility access of 25 feet or less, they probably won't know. They can mark unknown on there. We can figure it out. That's some of the reasons we're having contractors that will help with this, with the process. And the income under 158,000. If you guys don't know about the Cal HFA program, you should, because they're reimbursing up to $40,000 for the soft cost, pre-development costs for anybody building an ADU that makes in Los Angeles under $158,000. In the term, in the loan package and in the information package that is online, it tells you what qualifies as income. So take a look at that for that $158,000. And then also that third priority of the homeowner occupancy, obviously that doesn't apply if it's multifamily, duplex or more. This and all the SCAG maps we reference are in the application. So we won't explore that right now, but you can log onto the website for that. So the program workflow, so we just we know how things take longer than expected, right? So because it is a city program, sometimes it might run a little bit slower to, once we get going, to issue contracts and get checks. So this is kind of a more realistic than, if we were doing privately building an ADU. So for the first 2 months, we have the application window that's open, and then the next 3 months will be kind of underwriting and pre-design. So the city will be going through the applications as well as we will, and we will be looking at if they're qualified. Then we'll talking about the stage 2 will be pre-design work, and then the city approval. So once the city approves, they issue the letter, and then the fun begins, right? So the 2 applicants that score the highest, we'll start working with them to select their design team, and that design team will comprise of an architect, a structural engineer, it's not prescriptive plans, Title 24. Actually here in West Hollywood, they'll probably have to get a liquefaction report, and oftentimes, especially if it's a multifamily, and then sometimes, and because property lines up against each other, a survey might be required too. So all that will be covered in this cost. A soils report, anything needed before we do the design. So we'll work as a team. The designer will provide a floor plan they can sign off on. Then we'll start getting the plan set together. We'll submit that. We'll go through the process of corrections. And once we get our permit approval, our B permit, we'll already have kind of the GC in mind. So usually, around second round of corrections, you start getting the project out so you can know the true cost. So we'll have those, pre-qualified GCs, and then also, as long as the GC is willing to work in the confines of the requirements for West Hollywood, they can choose who they want to work with. So we'll, as a team, we usually will be there before they sign the contract to make sure they didn't miss anything, that it's all included in their bid. We'll go through the plans together, because homeowners, that's not speaking, they don't speak the same language, right, as we do. So we'll go through that with them. And then once we start construction and we kick off, we'll be constantly getting the invoices in, making the payments to the construction GC. And then we'll be monitoring, we'll be looking at progress reports. We'll be reporting to the city of West Hollywood on that progress. And then once it's done, we'll be getting a CO. And that's when they'll be selecting their Section 8 tenant that's going to move in. So we wanted to give a kind of a buffer period for this, just in case, as we said, cities go a little slower than normal. So for, typical Q&A, how much will the ADU cost? Well, we're going to make sure that all in it's under 150,000. We don't want anyone to be out of pocket for any expenses on this. So we'll look at value engineering opportunities if we need to keep it under that. How long will it take to build the ADU? We have that on the other side. It really could range. If it is just a conversion, it might be faster than new construction. Do we have to accept the tenant the property development division chooses to residents? So this is where it to be Section 8 tenant of your choosing, so you can go through the process of that selection. But they just will be monitoring that and will keep up and keep that tenant in place as long as possible. The 7 years, or if not, you select a new tenant. And then the loan, what if the loan amount is not enough to cover the cost of the ADU? Well, we do have somebody in Pasadena, who was gonna do this anyways, wanted to do it because he wanted to give back to the community. Said anything out of pocket, I want it built a certain way, I'll put my funds in, but we're trying not to do that. And we're actually gotten under budget. So we're really just trying, we want it all in that number to be under 150, and we'll work with the homeowners and the different consultants to make sure that happens. What happens if I sell my property? So you will be, the new owner will be taking on that burden and responsibility of that 7-year commitment. And after that, we would hope that they keep a low income tenant in there, but that's not a requirement, but that's what we are hoping for. And what will the ADU consultant do? Basically, like we said, we're kind of just holding hands every step of the way and kind of just acting as their advisor and helping them make decisions. And it's just like giving them information about how to stay within budget, how to select their design team and their GC, and how to communicate with them. And anything they don't know about raised foundations or something like that, a broken slab, we are there to help them answer and kind of talk in layman's terms what that might mean and what that cost implication might be. Sorry.
Yeah, somebody online had that exact question, so thank you for answering.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And next, I think that is wraps. Next slide is actually just should be the information for the program. And also it has, this is just a generic email that goes to all of us, so any of us can answer at any time. But again, Allison is the contact for the city. We're here to answer any questions. Our information will be along with the deck, but by September 30th. So we're encouraging everyone to get their applications in as soon as possible, because if they'll fill something out, yeah, then we can help them with that. So we can say, hey, it's not complete, you know, we still have a couple weeks, we'll get this information, we'll help you get this information.
And if you're an agent, this is a great opportunity to reach out to your database of people in your neighborhood and let them know about this program. So amazing presentation, amazing program. I mean, if you need any help ever speaking at city council or anything in the future to put in a good word, let me know. I'm happy to do that. I'm there all the time. So,
awesome, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having us. We're really excited. We're really getting in front of the right audience when you guys invited when we reached out today, and it just makes me really happy because we really want this program to be a success.
Yeah,
so
honestly, I found out about it because there was an Instagram post on West Hollywood's website. That's the only way I saw it. I happened to look at it one day. And I was like, wait, we need to learn about this as a group. Can you come talk to us? Like, oh yeah, sure. So thank you so much for your team and your time to come in and educate us on this. And I hope it's something that just takes off year after year, that it's not a one-time thing. So
we hope so too, absolutely. Do you have a question?
I do, yeah. I want to ask you the question that you use. Is it possible to I always had a vision, like for my kind of perfect, ideal solution to make it an ADU. I would love to build it on top of the garage. Is that at all possible? That you build like the living structure on top of the garage?
And not in West Hollywood. So West Hollywood has their own ordinance about ADUs, and they prohibit it. It has to be 1 story, so it can't be on top of like a garage. Some other cities do allow it.
Oh,
but not West Hollywood.
It's like 16-foot height requirement.
For multi-family. Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Oh, because they probably have it in their ordinance. And outside of the city of Los Angeles, it's actually just what the zoning is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And West Hollywood just agreed to do whatever the state's minimum requirements are. So to make it a little easier, whatever the state requires.
Yeah. So they do have an ordinance on it.
Ideally, like my kind of property that I was thought about buying is it would be the single family home that has the detached garage, and I would love to build the ADU on top of the garage, so the tenant would basically have kind of like their own parking space, and the main home would use like the driveway or whatever for their parking. So it's like everyone, it feels like a real ADU.
Yeah.
It's separate, but they're not having to fight about the parking situation. But you can't do that in West Hollywood, is what you're saying.
No, so and also that is actually, we won't get too political here, but you actually know about West Hollywood. So we're encouraging, they're actually cleaning up their ADU ordinance. There's a planning commission meeting September 15th. So speaking vocally about there's going to be upcoming changes that says you can build either 18 feet high, which allows for a garage underneath and then the ADU on top, or 25 feet from your transit. And we're really, they're gonna be talking about that height issue at that planning, and I would encourage anyone maybe to make a comment or attend, because I think that's really important. We don't wanna take away parking, we wanna leave the parking and then just add an additional unit.
And they're gonna be talking about rooftops. Right now, they're not sure if rooftops should be allowed. So the 15th planning commission meeting would be a great opportunity to go, listen to what's going on and speak, submit for public comment and speak. You can speak for 2 minutes or for 30 seconds, but every little comment makes a difference, especially for the planning commission that we have right now. It will make a difference, I promise.
Yes, sure, words that we said, we're talking about right now.
Would the speaker repeat the location of the meeting on the 15th? The room has many hard surfaces and you are echoing in the room.
It's via Zoom. I know they're meeting
They're
in person.
too.
Yeah, so you could do it by
City council
Zoom and
chambers.
okay.
Once again, because you are speaking quickly, the room is echoing. Can you speak more slowly in describing just that part?
Yeah, so you can look on West Hollywood's site to find the Zoom link, but it's a planning commission meeting, and they do it in person at the city council chambers at the West Hollywood Library.
Thank you. It was unclear that it was the planning commission. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying. Great,
Right.
thank you
Thank
guys.
you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Anthony.
I'm so happy. We have another speaker, so don't go away yet. We're continuing our ADU goal.
I have to jump, but thank you.
Yes. If anyone who's in the room who wants to grab a drink, feel free, get up, use the restroom, get a drink, and we're gonna move on to Will to introduce our next speaker. Of course. And keep it going on the topics of ADU. So I'm very excited. Let's keep it up. I'm gonna grab a drink myself. Oh yeah, cookies, you know, like we all
Yes. Hi, everybody. So I'm very excited to introduce my good friend and ADU expert, Kendall Young from ADU Digs. She is going to be talking today about, all the various ADU possibilities, not just in the city of West Hollywood, but anywhere that you might be interested in building an ADU, both prefab and otherwise. So Kendall, feel free to take it away.
Thank you so much. How do I get to?
Okay. Stop sharing that.
So we want to do
Here's where I vamp.
Yes, exactly.
Kendall, what's your last name?
Young, as in always young, never old. That one right there.
Sorry, I didn't hit the share yet.
That one right there.
No, I need to get back to Zoom first. Share. Let's see.
Technology, supposed to make our lives easier. I'm not so convinced.
You love it or you hate it. Here we
Yeah.
go. Can everyone see?
Yes, we can. I can see it.
Okay.
Yay! Okay, so sent that. So, fair warning. I crafted this presentation. My focus is on bringing the ADUs to the missing middle. So not going to be really targeting low-cost housing or affordable housing, but also not talking to the people who are looking to add bougie, custom, testosterone-filled housing either. We are looking to really just service the middle, the missing middle that's not there right now in the ADU space. We'll get into that in a little bit. So if my presentation looks like a little odd because y'all are multi-family, just like roll with it. There's good stuff here.
I would maybe stand there so people can hear you.
Y'all, can you hear me?
Actually, you're pretty good. Thanks.
Okay, so let's just start with this. This is the Newman family. They are busy careers, busy kids, and if their widowed mother-in-law would just come and live with them, everybody's lives would be improved. But their house is too small and she wants her own private space. This is Betty, and she's getting older and she's starting to worry about Jeff, her son, who has Down syndrome. She has this plan that her older son is eventually going to take over all of her responsibilities. But how is Jeff going to fit in to that family's lives? And then this is Diane. I want to be Diane. Well, okay, maybe with not so much gray hair. She is a successful real estate agent. She's spending more and more time in her place out in the desert. Now, she still needs a place in town for that occasional listing presentation or inspection. But the desert is where her heart is. Her kids do not want her to sell the family home. But the cost of maintaining both households is limiting how and when Diane gets to retire. So we all know that there is a huge housing crisis. Shannon talked about it so eloquently, but this also means that we have a care crisis. It's becoming harder and harder for people to care for themselves and for their loved ones, and to be able to live out their lives when and how they choose in the support network that they have created. So, come on, you're right, there's a lag. If Shannon, not Shannon, sorry. If Diane, Betty, the Newmans, if they were able to add an ADU to their backyard, they'd be able to care for themselves and for their family, right? So that's why we're talking about ADUs, because not only is there a major affordable housing crisis, there's just a housing crisis all the way around. So I'm going to start with basics. Forgive me if this sounds stupid, but believe me, people have asked me this question. What does ADU stand for? It's accessory dwelling unit. It means it has to be twinsies with a house. It can't exist by itself. Now, if you're to take one of my units, plop it down into some vacant land in Joshua Tree, now that's a tiny home. So we're talking about a house that is twinsies with a main house. And that becomes important when we start talking about SB9. It is fully rentable. There are a lot of people who want ADUs. In fact, in the study from the SCOG, they found that more than 3 million properties in Southern California alone, we're not even talking about all of California, just in Southern California, has enough room to add an 800 square foot detached ADU in their backyard. We're not even going to touch smaller units or JDUs or other really cool solutions. So we're going to go over ADU rules. Shannon touched on them, and I'm just going to expand on it a little bit more, because my goal here is to give the real estate agents in the room talking points for when their clients say, well, can I add an ADU? And you can say a little bit more than, well, it says in the multiple list, room for an ADU. That may or may not be the case. So let's go over some of the rules. First of all, there's 3 different kinds of ADUs. Shannon touched on that. We have a converted garage, by far the most popular scheme to add an ADU. It is not as easy or as cheap as you might think it is, but it is the most popular idea. Second is a detached ADU. That's what we do. We make building gorgeous ADUs that are architectural, easy, and cost effective. And then the last one is the attached ADU or JADU. This is space that is carved out of your contiguous main dwelling. So that could be, let's say, a family room that you can now carve off from the rest of the house and make it a JADU, as long as it has an external entrance and exit, yeah? Or it could be an attached garage that you have converted into an ADU. If it's part of the contiguous house, that is a JADU. So how many can we add? For single, so there's different rules, single family, multifamily. You guys are here about multifamily, but you're gonna get asked this question. Single family dwelling, you can have 1 detached ADU and 1 junior ADU. You do not get to get more than those, okay? Now, people say to me, but my neighbor has 2 houses in their backyard. Well, A, one of them might be illegal, and B, that might have been built before anybody would have cared. So that's a different situation. This is the ADU law. 1 detached, 1 attached. Multifamily, here's where it gets good. So multifamily in my neck of the woods, which is the Glendale, La Piata area and everything, anyway. You can have 2 detached ADUs if you have the room for it, and then you can convert up to, depends on the area, but in Los Angeles, up to 25% of the units. So if you've got 8 units, you can convert existing space like a garage, a recreation room, a storage room, common room, whatever. You can convert that space into 2 additional ADUs. So where there was, well, actually, let's just do this. Oh, wait. Okay, I have a case study for you in a second. It shows you what you can do with multifamily. Okay. All right, size. Now I'm mostly talking about single family because that's what I deal with, but it's not too different from multi. There is what I call the undeniable. The undeniable is 800 square feet or less, 16 feet high or lower, and 4 feet of setback on the back and on the sides. How much distance between the ADU and the main dwelling varies by city. Most of the time it's 6 feet, sometimes it's 10 feet, okay? So that's the size you can have. If you have this, the city cannot say no. They don't get the right to. Now, if you want it, can you go above 800? Yes, you can, but the city, depending on which city we're talking about, might say no, they get a vote, okay? A junior ADU between 220 square feet and 500 square feet, and lot size and lot coverage are not affected. So y'all are pretty sophisticated. You know what FAR is, right? So that's the amount of lot that's covered by your improvements. Before the ADU law, you had to pay attention to how much percentage of your lot you were going to cover with a structure. With the ADU law, it gets chucked out the window. So if you have enough room for the proper setbacks, you could fill up pretty much the whole damn lot with an ADU, okay? So that is a really important thing, especially in a high density area like WeHo. On parking, this is another big deal, especially for investors. You will not be forced to replace the parking that is lost because you have converted or raised a structure in order to put in an ADU. So you got a 2-car garage, you want to convert that into an ADU, they can't say, and now we need you to build an additional 2-car garage for parking. Can't do that. So this is a big deal. This is also for multifamily. So you've got a 4-plex with a 4-car garage. You're going to convert that 4-car garage into 1 additional ADU. You do not have to replace that parking that was lost. Okay, so that's really important. And you have to be a half mile of transit, which anywhere in an urban area, that's going to be fine. Rural area, like say Agoura Hills, that's another conversation altogether. So let's talk about use case. So if you had a 4-plex and you were to add 2 detached ADUs, now you have 6 units, and you were to convert a garage into an ADU, because that's 25%, that's now 7 units. Will, is that a multi-unit for your financing, or is that going to be residential?
This is a good question.
This is like kind of depends on who you talk to, right?
Exactly.
Depends on the underwriter. But clue, if you get a stupid head for an underwriter, it's on to the next lender. That's what I'm saying. So, right? That's what I'm saying. Have I done that before? Yes, maybe I have. If you want to develop this, and this is where it gets really exciting. So those of you who want to develop an apartment, some kind of apartment building, and you're looking at the density rules, the density rule says, okay, you can have 20 units. So you're like, okay, great. I'm going to do 20 units, and then I'm going to have all this ridiculous amount of space for common area, reaction room, yeah, storage, that's what it's going to be. So you get that, then you get your certificate of occupancy, and then you turn right around, and then you go ahead and add 20% of the units as additional ADUs from converted space. Plus, if you have the room, you can add another 2 ADUs. So taking what was permitted as density for 20 units and greatly upsizing that to create more housing, which the hope is that it would become more affordable.
Someone online is saying, has anyone else lost the audio? Can anyone else hear you? Can anyone else hear us online?
I blew the speakers out.
Okay, other people in here. Okay.
Okay, right on. For the person who can't hear me, I was going to say, use sound function. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Here's another big one, property tax. By adding an ADU, you are not going to be entirely reassessed for your property tax. So what happens is your base tax remains in place. The tax assessor's office is going to assess the increased value of the improvement. So if the tax assessor office says, wow, we think your ADU is worth $150,000, they're gonna tax you $1.25 on the additional value, the $150,000. Now, I did a presentation last week and I was sitting right next to a member of the tax assessor's office. And here's what he told me, this was lots of fun. He told me that the tax assessor's office is working off a manual that gets updated once a year to give them guidelines on how to assess the value of an ADU. And he says, yeah, you're right, we're way behind on that one. So whatever you say, so shocking. So that means that let's just say that you build one of my ADUs and it cost you $300,000 to do it because you wanted high quality, first class, major tenants, or your mother-in-law's gonna move in there and she's judgy. So you do that, the tax assessor office is very likely to assess it at $150,000, and that's what your tax bill is going to go up by. So it's going to go up by a few $100, not many, many, many thousands of dollars. So that's really, really good news. The second piece of good news is impact fees. So impact fees, for those of you who don't know, I like to think of them as increased permit fees, right? Or highway robbery. You can go with either one, whichever way you want. But those of us who try to develop housing prior to ADU laws know that impact fees can increase your cost of build by tens of thousands of dollars. So the good news is that if your unit is under 750 square feet, the city doesn't get to give you impact fees, which is so awesome. It makes it more affordable to add this housing that we know so badly need. They are only going to be able to assess you an impact fee on the square footage between 750 and whatever it is that you actually build. Yes.
And every city will be different by then. It says, the state law says you can be charged impact fees.
Right.
So West Hollywood hasn't made up their mind yet. And on the 15th, if you go to that meeting, it's another thing that you're going to want to talk about is, no, we don't want impact fees over 750 because it makes it more unaffordable. The reason why we're doing ADUs is to make more affordable housing. So if you go to that meeting, please also bring up impact fees. No impact fees over 750 square feet. They're actually leaning towards no impact fees right now. So let's see what happens. But
that is amazing.
Yeah, I've spoke a couple times. I was the only one who spoke. And
I'm becoming a big fan of Reno.
yeah.
So, I don't know right here, but that's the sad. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Once I'm sure. Really, the whole point of ADUs, in my opinion, is to keep families and communities together. That's my opinion. All right, on cost. I think I'm talking to a pretty sophisticated audience, but I'm going to just touch on this anyway. Anytime you build a house, tiny house, huge mansion, your most expensive square footage is your first 350 square feet, because most of your soft top costs are going to be front loaded right there, and they're not going to change very much no matter how big you get. So when somebody says to you, you want how much for a studio ADU? That's ridiculous on a cost per square foot. I built a 6,000 square foot mansion and it was less per square foot. Yeah, you know what? Same thing in building as it is in selling houses. Tiny house costs more per square foot than big house. That's just the way it is. Cost to build, highly individual. When Chuck in the truck says it's going to cost you this many shekels to build an ADU, and he hasn't even asked you where, he's not taking into account, is there slope, are there soil problems, is there access problems, what's going on there, is it really tight, is it really easy, he has no idea, what's the level of finish, what is it designed like, he has no idea. You should look at it as, at best, just kind of information, but it doesn't bear on how much it's going to cost you to do an ADU. This comes from a slide from a presentation done by Maxable. Maxable is a huge ADU consultant firm out of San Diego. And she was saying that costs have gone up quite a bit. And so this is what you can expect for structure, for hard costs, for sticks and bricks, not your design, not your permits, not your engineering fee, not your survey, none of that, okay? So garage conversion, hard cost, about 110. One bedroom, 225. a 2-bedroom, about 225, and a 2 to 3 bedroom, about 375. You're gonna be adding somewhere between 35,000 and 75,000 for soft costs, depending on who you use and how you do it, and what city you're in, what kind of permit fees they are, and how much raw work really needs to be done. Timing. When I started my company, I wanted to be a prefab only company because in my opinion, that is the future. Prefab has become expensive for a whole bunch of reasons we won't get into, but that is why I have this chart. And it's just worth covering anyway, because alternative building methods are coming, yeah? So site built, you're looking at design 2 to 4 months, and that's only if you actually know what you're doing and you respond to your architect immediately. Instead of, they give you designs and then you sit on it while you crowdsource whether or not this is good, and then you say, well, yes, this is what I want to do. So design takes much longer than you think it's going to take. Getting a price quote, a good one, an actual one, not the, gee, I think it'll be that. That's going to take time. Permits, going to take time. City of Los Angeles to get a utility meter, an electric meter, right now it's running close to a year. So 4 months is what it was pre-COVID. Now it's a little tougher to estimate. Construction time in your backyard, 6 to 8 months, and that's if everything goes well. So you're looking at a year to almost 2 years from concept to keys, yeah? Prefab cuts out a lot of that because it is pre-designed. You either like what I have or you don't, and if you don't, we won't get to work together, bummer, but I got that. And so we cut out a lot of that timing because of the pre-design, and the factory process is a lot more efficient. Active construction time in your yard, 6 weeks, 2 weeks to put the foundation, transfer utilities, 1 day to install it, 2 weeks to clean it up. Kendall, that does not add up to 6. Yeah, because I like to promise something better than it's actually, do something better than we actually promise. So 9 months total. Financing, we touched on this. Second position, HELOC, is going to be interest only, because I'm assuming your clients already have a bump in first mortgage they do not want to touch. So second position, HELOC is out there. Construction financing is always a good idea, and they do have second position, construction financing. 203K renovation loan is another great product as long as you are under the federal guidelines. So I think it's for multifamily, what is it, 998 or something like that? For single family, it's 972. Yeah, so as long as your total cost for the paying off the first loan and the renovations you're planning to do is under 972 for single family, then you can use a 203K renovation loan. A note on the $40,000 EDU grant. If you go to my blog, I actually did an interview with the director of training and outreach for a college in HSA, so there's some really good information on there. Shannon, I just wanted to say you might want to take a look at the chart for the income limits. In the city of Los Angeles, 180,000. So a little bit higher than the 158, which makes it even easier and better. The income limits are actually quite generous, so a lot of people can qualify. There is room for about 2,500 of those grants, and the HFSA does not expect to run out of money for a couple of years, and the program is going so well, they very much expect for it to get renewed and refunded. So good program to really look at. I think you guys all know about this one. The only one I really want to get at to is larger is not better, no matter what your boyfriend told you. Seriously. What's really important is great design. If you have a larger ADU, it's going to cost you more money, it's going to take up more of your land, you're going to have less of outdoor space. If you have a smaller unit that's really well designed, that takes advantage of the California indoor-outdoor lifestyle, that can actually rent better, live better, and it contribute more value to your single-family house or your multifamily. So that's just a word to the wise. All right, here's my process in working, and I think it's a reasonable outline to think about what do we do to build an ADU. First thing you want to do is just go to check it online, make sure from a satellite view, does it look like there's enough room? Awesome new tool that is free, although I'm easier, is called SymbianBuild.com. It's build.symbian, SYMBIUN. weird spelling. But you can put it in there, it pulls up the satellite imagery, has an overlay of the property lines, and it makes it really easy to see. Does it look like there's enough space there? You can also just text me the address and I can tell you because I'm sitting at a desk and I've got Symbian up on my computer all the time. The next thing that you can do, and I did develop this service just for real estate agents, 36 years as a real estate agent, I know what you need during the inspection phase. So if your buyer, multi-unit or single family, is expecting to be able to add an ADU, you might want to look at something like this. Now, I am doing it not as an ADU consultant, because there are better people for that. I am doing this as a real estate agent who understands that what you really need is someone who tells them the truth, but also makes them feel like their dreams are attainable and possible and reasonable for the property that they've sold. So the ADU feasibility inspection report actually came from me coming up and doing a bid on a build, and I just looked at that and I said, who told you you could build an ADU here? I mean, I see all that space, but this is going to cost so much money because of the following reason. He says, I hired an ADU consultant and they never told me those things. And I went, oh dear God, we need this inspection. So $425, $75 for off to anybody that says that they heard me speak. You get a written report, it's an on-site inspection, and all I'm trying to do is to help identify the complexities of what might happen to someone who wants to add a detached ADU. This is not for garage conversions, it's not for JDUs. Those are actually pretty simple. This is just looking at a lot and helping your client understand the complexities of what might be impacting their bill. Last one, the next one then is the juicy stuff. That's where you design and go through plan check and get your final bids, so you know what it's going to take to actually build. We charge for that. Anybody who is really professional is going to charge you for that, and we're charging $15,000. Again, there's a deal for anybody who says that they heard me speak. And then construction. That's the last one. So, do you want to do SB9? I don't know if you have time.
Yeah, let's touch on it. We've talked about it this year many times, but if you want to do like a brief overview of it, please.
Yeah, just a reminder, I am not an SB9 expert, but I thought because you guys are multi-unit, you might be more interested in the average Joe. So SB9 is designed for Betty. So remember how I told you she wanted her older son to take over and things, and eventually incorporate Jeff and what's going on. So she wants to put an ADU in her backyard. Well, here's the problem. She lives in Glendale, and Jeff and her older son cannot afford to live in Glendale. He's living in Buckall, I don't even know, Palmdale right now. He's out there, and he's raising his family out in Palmdale because that's where he can afford to live. So when Betty passes away, what is he gonna do? Uproot his young family and drag them back to Glendale, a place they've never been to? What if Betty were able to use SB9 to build a house for her son? This is Dave. He looks pretty hapless. He looks like that's about all he can afford is to live in Palmdale. So this is, I'm a judgy bitch. Yeah, right, I figured this is the place for it, right? Okay, so the goal for SB9 is to create more saleable homes. ADU was to create just more housing. This is saleable homes. So how do we do it? You can either do a lot split, which everybody calls SB9 a lot split law, right? But that's a little bit of a misnomer. It's also, you can just build 2 houses on a lot and 2 people could own that lot. So that's perfect for Dave. He could own his house, Betty owns her house, they didn't split the lot. You've really got kind of like a little family compound going on there, right? So this is an illustration of what it might look like. They say typical LA lot. How many LA lots are 150 feet deep, for God's sake? But anyway, that's what it said, whatever, this is what it looks like. So now we have there was 1 house. There's now a house and an ADU and a duplex. So where there was 1 house, now there is 4, and there can be 4 different owners. That's what's so flippin' cool. We can start having people buy something and start that generational wealth that we always talk about in residential real estate, which is not available to people now in the city of Los Angeles or Glendale, where I am. Lot split size, new lot can't be less than 40% of the original lot. So you can't cut off like this tiny little sliver and call it a day, right? So 40%, and the minimum lot size is 1,200 square feet. And the old lot, the remaining lot, cannot be smaller than 2,400 square feet. There's a lot of restrictions. Okay, we think that this is just like cracking the door open a little bit. So they put all these restrictions in so the NIMBYs can just calm them down, right? So you can't do it if you're in fire or flood hazard zone. Actually, really any of the big environmental hazard zones can't do it. Can't do it if you're in historic zone. HOAs have all of the right to block it, and they will, trust me. And cities, there was a lot of space in this law to allow cities to block it. I always said, looking at you, San Marino, right? So the cities who don't want to have this kind of density, it's easy for them to block it. So, you know, it's not a panacea, but it is coming, and it's a great way to create housing. There is an owner covenant for 3 years, so the owner needs to stay in one of the lots for 3 years after it's been split. And if you've got an owner that owns 2 lots side by side, they don't get to split both of them. They only get to do one. So they didn't want to see a proliferation of developers helicoptering in and saying, we're gonna split all these lots, build lots of houses, and whoop, there you go. They didn't want that. And you can only split it once. So if you got yourself such an enormous lot, you want to split that puppy, that's cool. There's no double dipping. Like it's not hygienic. You can't double dip, you can only do it once, okay? All right, so I kind of mentioned this, but ADU, to create more housing, rental or family housing, it's widely available. There is no owner covenant, and you can use this on a multifamily. SB 9, its purpose is to create saleable properties. It's very restrictive. There is an owner covenant, and multifamily, no bueno. So that's it.
Thank you. There is a question from Valerie online. Valerie, do you want to ask her, or do you want me to just pull it off your chat?
No, I do have a quick question. If you were to put a prefab, as you, in the future, is that like for, if you ever want to refinance it?
I'm sorry, you dropped out.
Sorry, I was eating a sandwich. If you construct a detached ADU on a single family property, let's say in Los Angeles County, let's say, I didn't realize the construction costs are at about $333 a square feet according to your chart. If you wanted to put a prefab on it and then later go to refinance, is that prefab like Freddie and Fannie approved? I mean,
Yes. So there are 2 types of prefab construction. There is the prefab that you mostly associate with trailer home parks, and that is manufactured under the HUD manufacturing code. And then there is the prefab that is used to build luxury homes, hotels, and apartment buildings and shopping centers. And that follows the same code that all of the buildings that you're living in right now follows, and we're doing that one. Yeah, so it is real estate installed on a permanent foundation and has the durability and quality that will probably outlast your own house.
And about how much are those per square foot?
I'm sorry?
About how much is a prefab per square foot?
A lot of money. I'm not gonna joke. I mean, it is. Right now, because of factory constraints, they can charge anything they want, and they are. So I'm bumping it over $500 a square foot. The only thing I can say to you is, that is soup to freaking nuts. That includes your flooring, your fixtures, your appliances, your lighting, your heating, air conditioning, solar panels. All you need is your toothbrush, but it's still a lot of money.
So it's more than building.
Yeah, you're going to do prefab because you want speed and convenience. You are willing to pay for the idea that, you know, the contractors are only going to be messing with your bliss for 6 weeks, as opposed to months, and sometimes months on ending.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
What do you think of the prefab boxable? I think that someday they're going to be really great. Right now, nobody that I know in the industry has seen we've seen the prototype, which is hand built. It was hand built, it's pretty rough, right? Boxable. So Boxable is the one that, it's got such a sexy story. It comes in a flat thing, and then when it's installed in the backyard, it goes, woo,
Yes.
like that. I mean, that is dead sexy, right? Yeah, dead sexy. They've taken thousands of orders. Yes. But we don't know of any that have shipped yet. I would call it vaporware, except that with the ungodly amount of VC capital that they've received, they're going to figure it out someday. I don't know when. Dead sexy though. Yeah. I'm not dead sexy. We're just very.
Someone just wrote Elon Musk got his, that's all we know.
Yeah, Elon Musk got his. That's the one that's hand built.
Right.
Yeah, and that thing, I need to sell all my engines and move into a boxable. That's such. Is this being recorded?
Yes.
Sorry, but I'm in legal, so it's not my fault. Yeah, it's not my fault.
You had a question?
Right.
Yes. Do you use a specific manufacturer for your
Yes, I do. We're actually manufacturing in the #1 factory for prefab ADUs in the country. They manufacture for all of the largest prefab ADU companies, candidly, and they keep telling me this, although they don't give me money. They want us, they would prefer to do business with us. We are more mission driven than we are VC driven or profit driven, typically. And the ones that are VC driven are unkind, let's say. And we're like, no, what's quality? You know, how do we do this every time exactly the same way? So we're very, very lucky because we started forming a relationship with them before we even knew we wanted to do a company. Turns out, weird thing, I know the factory owner from the real estate tech space, whatever. But yeah, so yeah, we've got an awesome factory. We're looking for more. We just took a meeting today with a SIPS, what is they call that? It's a super insulated panel. Yeah. So we're looking at alternative building things because there's so much exciting stuff out on the horizon.
Which manufacturer are you guys using?
I'll talk to you about it afterwards. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. Happy to do so.
I see a hand on Zoom. Richard?
Hi, thank you so much. I just wanted to bring folks' attention as we are talking about price per square foot and also the two different types of prefab. I did put a link in the chat box to a company here locally in Downey, California. They actually use light gauge steel. Their name is Light Mods ADU Concepts, and their price per square foot is definitely not $500, but it does provide for the level of customization as well as prefabrication and modular construction that is needed. And actually, they have 7 designs, I think, that have been pre-approved by the city of Los Angeles for the mayor's ADU program. So I'm happy to chat offline with anybody as well as set up a tour of the factory in Downey if you're interested. Thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments? We are at 6:33, which is low. I mean, we're,
I mean, for having such amazing content today, we're a couple minutes over, sorry. But I hope it was worth it for everyone. I'm gonna leave the chat open for a while because there was a lot of talk, a lot of info. So you can go back and scroll through there and copy what you need to do or download the chat. So you have that, and then everyone who's here, you're welcome to stay and hang out, have another drink and network. And I just want to thank Kendall so much for coming.
Yes,
And for our fabulous presence. So have a great week. We'll be back in September. Maybe some of you online will come in person and come say hi to us next time. If not, we'll see you back on Zoom. And this will be on YouTube starting tomorrow. You just search The Collective Realty on YouTube and you'll find the sessions, and we'll be emailing everyone the decks. So that'll come out probably within the next 24 to 48 hours. All right.
Thanks for joining. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. This was excellent.
the office and weekend.